So summer is off to a rough start this year. I know many people look forward to summertime in the garden, but if you're like me, I live in Central California, Zone 9B. Summers are literally hell where I live. June and July, it's like many 100-degree days. Today, it is only the second week of May, and it's supposed to be 90 degrees today. And a few days from now, it's going to be 100. So little bit faster than I expected that we get getting these hot temps. So I bought some shade cloth. I need to rig that up to my garden beds. And then I do have a lot of little things I want to do, some plantings and tidying up. Not sure how long I last. Right now it's like 7 a.m. and 60 degrees, so the weather is perfect. But we'll see how long I last and take you along as I do some of my summer prep garden chores. So here we are at my seedling table, although I'm not sure how much longer I can call these seedlings because a lot of them are pretty much full-grown plants. Many things are overflowing, so it's time I get them planted. First and foremost, I have some early Sunglow corn here. Sowed these about 2 weeks ago and they look really good. So I will be focusing on getting these in today. And then I have a bunch of extra stuff, like a bunch of flowers. These are zinnias, and they haven't bloomed yet, but they are getting quite tall, so I will find a place for those. And then I also have a bunch of extra tomatoes. These ones have all been planted in my raised beds, but these were extras. And I thought I would be giving them away to friends and family, but nobody wants any. So I don't want to throw them away. So for now, I'll just pot them up, and they are looking a little leggy, so we'll pot them up and maybe someone will want one eventually, but worst case, I'll just keep them as container tomatoes and add to my ever-growing tomato collection. So for my corn, I'm going to be putting it right here. This is kind of the back. The sun comes up this way, so as the corn grows tall, it won't block anything. And I have this cardboard, I have cardboard everywhere as a temporary weed suppression, but this area is full of nutsedge, and when I was first preparing this pool area, I had gone with just an action hoe and kind of raked through, and that pretty much just cut off the top heads of the grass. I didn't know it was nutsedge at the time. Nutsedge has a very deep root. It's called nutsedge because it has this little like nut-like seed. So unless you get the seed out, if you cut the grass on top, it keeps growing back. So I have put this over, and it's kind of killed the grass, but I know the grass will grow back. So once I dig up this area, amend it with some good soil and some fertilizer, I probably will put the cardboard back on top and use it as a mulch, cut holes, and that is where my corn will go. Because over here where I put my tomatoes, you can see it's a mess. The grass has started growing through, so I don't want to repeat that mistake. So we will use the cardboard this time. So let's get digging and prep this soil. So it is now the next day. Right after I finished planting all the corn, my neighbors came over and we gave them a little impromptu garden tour and ended up chatting for a while. And then by the time they left, it was too hot for me to continue. So I took a little break. And then this morning I was out here to finish everything up, and we have all of the corn, and I also did plant some flowers here. So we have marigolds, alyssum, a couple zinnias planted around the corn. Then I covered everything around with compost. I still have to put some wood chips down in between to cover up the cardboard, so it looks a little messy right now. But overall, I think it looks good. And I only have 16 corn, which for corn, I've read that's kind of a small amount. So I will probably need to be doing some hand pollination once the tassels come out. So we'll have to see how that goes. But so far, so good. So we'll check back in a few weeks to see how the corn does. Okay, now moving on to transplanting some tomatoes. And the lighting is not great right now because the sun is right in my face, so just gonna have to bear with it. But this bed is one of my emptier beds. Been waiting for these tomatoes to get big enough so I can transplant them. Going to be doing some Kellogg's breakfast. Never planted these before, but I see so many people talk about them online, how great they are, so we'll try those out. Then I have a Costado Fiorentino. No idea how to pronounce that, but this one looked really fun. I also have a carbon pole that I already planted a few weeks ago, so I'm going to put, in total, there'll be 5 tomatoes in this front row, and then later on I will do a Florida weave, but I have some time since these are still small. But one thing about this bed that I don't like is when I first built these beds back in, February or January? And I had filled the bottoms with a layer of dried leaves and then a layer of cardboard and some grass clippings. And then in this bed only, I did an extra step of, I have a bunch of vines growing on the back fence, and in the winter they all die back. So the vines were seemingly dead, so I cut a bunch off, and I also put a layer of vines just in this one bed here. And as you can see, the vines, I guess, were not completely dead, or they managed to come back to life, because now they are popping up everywhere. And I keep pulling them up, but they just regrow. So won't be doing that again, and I'm glad I only did it in this bed. So as I am planting these tomatoes, I'll be digging in deep, trying to get as much of the vines out as I can. And we'll just see how it goes. So let's get started. I think it's like 10 a.m., but it's like almost 80 degrees and I have reached my limit. So I planted the tomatoes. I'm gonna come back tomorrow because I still need to plant flowers in between. So we will do a little time jump and it'll be the next day now. So it's actually 2 days since I last filmed, because immediately after I had planted in those tomato seedlings, the following 2 days were 100 degrees. And I had tried getting outside really early by like 7, 8 a.m., but really by 8:30 a.m., like sweat dripping down my face. So did not get too much done the past few days. But today it's only supposed to be 88 degrees. So it's really nice right now. So let's go over what I did so far. So I finished planting out this bed, and that was just all the tomato seedlings, and then I did a couple flowers dispersed in between. And one thing to note is that the day I had planted all of these out, it got 97 degrees, and the tomatoes did okay. I did put shade cloth over right after transplanting them, but I did plant a bunch of little flowers and some basil, and those did struggle. I think it was just the heat. It was one, being transplanted, and two, the high heat. A couple of the flower seedlings died because it was so hot. So note to self, do not transplant things when it's gonna be like 95 plus degrees. But most of the things survived, so everything looks good. We got tomatoes, flowers, basil, and then I will be later putting up a Florida weave trellis once these tomatoes get bigger. So yeah, everything looks great. So let's talk shade cloth. Most of the shade cloth I have is 50% sun blockage. I do have some 30% as well. And putting it up in the raised beds was pretty straightforward, but in the pool area, because it's in a regular large shape, I just had to do the best I could with covering the vegetables I have out there. So the good thing is a lot of the things in the pool are heat tolerant crops, like, melons, squash, tomatoes. So I'm not too worried about them in the long run. That area does get probably 10 hours of sun a day. As the season progresses, I will have to get more creative with my shade cloth, but might not be pretty, but it gets the job done. And I think that is it for today's video. As you can see, I still have many seedlings, mainly flowers, that I do need to get planted. And I still gotta set up my irrigation in the raised beds. So videos might slow down now that it's getting really hot. It takes me a lot longer to film because I have to do it over multiple days to take breaks from the heat. But yeah, things are coming along, and look forward to seeing you in the next video.